And then for those of you in downward dog, come down onto your hands and knees, and then everybody come to sit up on your bolster with your shins crossed. And let your hands rest on the tops of your thighs to open the shoulders. So with the bolster, I'm up higher than I normally am with 2 blankets. So if you're not, make some sort of height lift with the supports that you're using beneath you. All right, so right now, just to remind you, I'm on a block and a blanket. Now, take the knees wider and bring the soles of the feet together and position your buttock bones on the center of your bolster, whatever that is for you, and hold the outer knees up so the inner groins can descend down. So this is for the tight hip people, right? You want to lift up from the outer hip through the outer knee. Exhale, rotate forward and stop when you feel any closure in the front chest or in the front groins. Now, this is a way in which we can rotate forward a little bit more easily. Now you can let your legs drop, but if that creates an unseasonable stretch in the hips or the groins, you just keep the lift of the knees. So when the hands transfer to the shins, for those of us a little bit more open in the knees and the hips, bring the heels back towards your bolster and then begin to walk your hands out on the floor. Keep that spin of the tricep, lift up through the chest and reach back through the buttock bones. Keep your head in line with your spine. And if you're having tension in your neck and your shoulders, just let your head hang. And then walk your hands back. Sitting up, take your palms to the kneecaps and reach the kneecaps out into the hands. Broaden the collarbones. And then bring your knees back up towards the ceiling and separate your feet a little bit more than hip width. So here what I want to do is have it wide enough that I can feel, perhaps now as we rotate forward again, drawing back with the arms, forward with the side ribs, a sense of broadening of the upper chest, dropping the buttock bones down, and letting the side ribs come forward in between the inner thighs. So in a way, it's a baby malasana, or a squat position, where your buttock bones are supported. So this way you can monitor how much you would like to bend your knee or not bend your knee, right? How much you come forward in the hips or forward in the hips, right? Now, if you're all the way through the inseam of the leg, keep grounding the inner heel so there's a sense of containing the leg into the trunk or the arms. And then inhale and come up. And now extend your legs out in Dandasana. So it might be a little high for those of us on blocks and blankets. So one of the things that's helpful is reaffirming the firmness of the knee. So if I reach my legs out by flexing the foot, ground the heel down, and then take the ball ends of the feet out, I feel a filling in of the back of the knee. Now, if you feel stable here, then sweep your arms forward, out, and up for Urdhva Hastasana. So if I take the armpit back, then the arm can turn more, and I have more range of motion in around my neck. Exhale, lower the arms down. And now turn in such a way so that you have your bolster. All right, and I'm going to rotate my block, because if I'm sitting at the end of this bolster, I don't have my buttock bones supported. But you want to be able to have something behind you here, because we're going to take Bharadwajasana. Now, Bharadwajasana is a wonderful pose in the sense that if for any reason you cannot fold your legs like this, you can always take a, how shall we say, you come from your Bharadwajasana and you turn so that you might have more of this presentation. All right. So instead of staying straight forward and folding the legs by taking one heel to the outside of the block, folding the other leg into Virasana and turning, all right, you would have to shift from Bharadwajasana. You turn the pelvis 90 degrees, and then you have a more open place for your hips and your groins. The key here is having your buttock bones up high enough, all right? So we're going to turn to the right, so your feet need to be off to the left. However that works for you. So if I was doing a more classical version, I would be here on my supports. I'd take the right foot under, fold the left leg. So as you turn to your right, have the left hand on the right thigh, your right hand behind. Corral these right ribs into the body. So you draw up through the left side body, but down through the outer left hip and turn looking over your shoulder. And then release. And if you're doing Bharadwajasana, you would then turn back to the left, opening that left knee up and out. And then you take the right knee up and you turn 90 degrees. So you have that openness, right? Or you have now your left foot coming to the outside of the block, your right leg folding into Virasana, and you turn to the left, broadening the collarbones, reaching through the elbows. Corral your left ribs in towards the right side body so you can descend the outer right hip as you lift up, exhale, turn. Exhale and release. Now come down off of your bolster and have your bolster off to your right side and sit in a cross-legged position. Now for me, I have to readjust if I'm using the blocks so that it's more of a support long-wise. And I'm actually going to add a second blanket so it's even higher. If you have a bolster, add a blanket on top of it. If you have two towels, add a blanket on top of it. So it's a similar variation of Bharadwajasana, but it's supported by a bolster. So this is when it brings more of a restorative quality to it because you have enough of a lift up off of the floor that your body can drape over and then continue to follow with the breath. So here I'm going to take the left leg out to the side, and all of us now will have the sole of the right foot holding the top of the left knee, and then turn so that your trunk faces the bolster. Reach out through the left thigh, lift up through the front body, exhale, lie down over the bolster. Now at first you may not be able to turn fully your head towards the wall to your back body. So you're going to look forward for a moment, and then whatever you need, right? You might have to take that top blanket so that the side of your head is supported here. Right? Again, position the elbows so the shoulder blade isn't crashing into your neck. And just let go. Let gravity do the work here. The only thing we need to really focus on directing is the expansion of the breath. So as I breathe more deeply, I might feel this expansion of the chest out. And then exhale, let everything go. So the deeper you breathe in, the deeper you will breathe out. If there's any discomfort in your lower back, you may want to take your navel slightly towards the back of the pelvis, that scooping out action. If the mind is busy with a laundry list of things to do or things that have happened, pause a little longer at the top of your in-breath before taking a breath out. Slowly, slowly begin to lift the chest up. And now let's see if we can turn fully towards the wall behind. So as you press down into your hands, reach out through that left leg again. So you have integrity through the whole spine, and turn, taking your gaze towards the wall behind you. Now, if that doesn't work, you just return to looking forward. Okay? See if you can find a place that lengthens. So you just turn, look at the wall behind you, and lower back down on the bolster. Adjust the blankets to support your head if it's a little too low for your head. If it strains your neck and your shoulders, by all means, turn your gaze back towards the front body. Taking one more long, full, deep breath in, begin to lift the chest. Come back to sit, and then sweep the left leg in for a simple cross-legged position. Now, if you have a singular bolster, it's a lot easier just to transfer it over to the left hip. If you have all these pieces, it might be a little bit more negotiation. So the beauty of using the blocks is, for any reason, if it just feels a little too low for your head, you can always take this block that's further away and turn it up. All right, so if you really struggled with your head in that last round, try taking it up. Otherwise, you can leave it down and manipulate the blankets. All right, so this is right in the line, right next to my left hip. I'm going to lean to the left to release the right leg out. Now, you'll notice that there's a crispness to the inner edge of my foot. So if I press down into the inner edge of the foot, it enrolls the whole leg, which might make it a little easier now to turn towards your bolster, lengthen up and out of the bolster, and use your arms to assist in a more even turn. So I'm reaching out through the right leg, I'm turning with the arms, and then extend the sternum out and lie down over the bolster with your head turned towards the front body. It's a little low for my head. So what I'm going to do is, rather than turn up the blankets, I'm just going to lift the blankets and turn up the block and see if that provides, yeah, now I feel a dropping of the arm bone down and it releases my neck. So give yourself permission to tinker. And some of the successful manipulations of your blankets, your blocks, your props have to do with asking yourself the question, what do I need more of? Do I need more space in my neck? Do I need to work less in the pose? Do I need more space in my back? So then you would say to yourself, okay, if that's what I need, what would create more space behind the knee in the lower back? Typically with the lower back, what you need is more of a filling in of the lumbar region from the front body to the back body, and more length of the spine. Typically when it comes to neck and shoulders, you position the arm bones in such a way further away from the head so that the bones of the arms aren't going into the neck and shoulders. Now on your next inhalation, begin to lift your chest, turn a little bit more and use the reach of that right leg and turn, 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 take the head to gaze out at the back body. And this is typically when you need a little bit more lift for that head. So you can always take another blanket in if all you're using is a bolster, or turn the blanket that's underneath you to create a position that gives you release. And play around with the position of the elbows if you're looking for a different sensation in your neck. Again, work with the breath. So there's a long, full, deep inhalation where the lungs fill. and you can feel length, or you can feel breadth of the chest. And then as you let go, there's a long, full, deep exhalation. Now, there's a deeper layer going on here in yoga that we may not realize, which is there's an integration going on when we do these poses. So initially in this method, we break apart all the poses for where the foot is, how the foot acts, what the knee's doing, what the hip is doing, what the ribs are doing. Sometimes you'll even hear instructions about your kidneys, right? And so all these different pieces are identifiable in the long term. And yet at the same time, each and every single pose you do, there wants to be an opportunity to exhale and let the body be experienced as a whole. So see if now on your next breath, you can just feel the body as a whole, as opposed to an area that you're watching, an area that you're protecting, an area that even on the positive end that feels really good. And then on your next breath in, slowly, slowly bring yourself back up and sit in an easy cross-legged position, whether that's Sukhasana, maybe for you it's Siddhasana. Good. So see if, moving your head around feels a little bit better. Maybe if sitting up feels a little bit less combative with sensations in your lower back. And your mind might be a little quieter too.